America's first superhighway.
So we were the first toll road in the country, and also too really the first continuous highway of that size.
The Pennsylvania Turnpike celebrates 85 years, gone in a flash.
No roadway's ever been built for 85 years, and especially with the technology and the expertise they had 85 years ago.
Now, the toll booths are going away, but the road still collects money. As you rack up the miles, you rack up the tolls.
So it's no fault of their own. A lot of people think it's them doing it. Now they also, at the same time, they have to maintain what they have.
Tonight, we take a closer look. Why do the rates continue to rise? Where do your toll dollars go? What does the future look like?
I think user fees have to be the way of the future in some capacity, and I really see us as the model moving forward.
This is a CBS 21 News special, Toll of the Turnpike.
And thank you for joining us for the CBS 21 News special. I'm Joel D. Smith.
And I'm Candace Scalise. And today, the Pennsylvania Turnpike celebrates a major milestone, turning 85 years old, stretching from one side of the Commonwealth to the other. The Turnpike is more than 500 miles long.
However, taking this route, definitely not cheap. And over the years, the toll road has received mixed reviews.
The tolls are ridiculous. They're too high.
I think they do a pretty good job keeping the maintenance up, more than the average road, so I guess that's why you're paying so much. But yeah, it's getting a little pricey.
You know, people complain about the tolls, but you know, they have to pay for their roads somehow. Taxes don't pay for it.
I know when I leave Pennsylvania, because the roads are smooth and they don't have nearly as high a tolls as we do, so I'm not quite sure where it goes to, whether or not. I don't feel the Turnpike is necessarily needed.
A lot of opinions out there tonight. We are taking your questions directly to the Turnpike leadership, speaking exclusively with the CEO of the commission and also its chief engineer.
We're also going to take a closer look at the politics of the Turnpike and some of the items that are planned for the future of your toll dollars, as the Turnpike is expecting to rake in $1.8 billion on tolls this year.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it is funded through tolls, and it is an independent agency of the Commonwealth with commissioners appointed by the governor and state Senate leadership. As for those tolls, here you go. The rates have gone up every year since 2009. This past year, up 5%. Next year, scheduled to go up another 4%. And that means it'll cost you about 7 cents per mile that you drive, and that's if you have the Easy Pass.
But out of all of those toll dollars, more than half, 52% of that money goes to paying PennDOT billions of dollars of debt. The remaining 48% goes to operational needs of the road.
Okay, so the last audit of the commission found the Turnpike was $13 billion in debt. All of that primarily due to Act 44 of 2007. That's the law that forced the Turnpike to help pay for other PA roads and mass transit. So when I sat down with the CEO, he pointed out that it was that law that was the main reason why the tolls keep going up each year.
Big changes for us were really back in 2007. And a key part of that was legislation known as Act 44. So with Act 44, there was a move afoot by, at the time, Governor Rendell to privatize the roadway that you see today. Mm-hmm. And the folks that were here with the commissioners and the folks in the front office really said if we would toll Interstate 80, we could really monetize the roadway ourselves. So that was a legislation that was passed with the initial intent to get federal approval to toll Interstate 80. As we all know, the Interstate 80 component did not happen. However, the fallback position was to bond to PennDOT, half for transit and half for highway, in the tune of $450 million a year to bond, which was the proceeds. That's where they went to.
So, in 2007, were there certain moves made with money that wasn't there yet, assuming it was going to be there from Interstate 80?
So the initial moves were really, as it relates back to the Turnpike itself, is an escalating debt profile. So what that means is we did not have the revenues here. The Turnpike did not have the annual revenues at the time to sustain a debt load of that level. Yeah. So it's now in later years. We don't peak now till 2038 based on that escalating debt.
What do you mean by peak?
The debt payments peak, so the largest debt payment that we make till we get down over the other side of that hill is 2038, which is the 30-year debt, 30-year money, which was conceived in 2007.
It's the most unpopular time of the year when you have to say, oh, it's going up again another this many percent or that many percent, and then we, of course, have to show people the difference, and we give them the numbers. Yeah. Is it just going to be 5 to 6% for the foreseeable future every year?
It is not. So we do follow what's called the Act 44 plan, which was the plan that lays out what if we meet all the metrics of traffic and revenue and what we're doing on the operating side, what the toll increase needs to be. The commissioners this year approved a 4% toll increase to take effect in January of this year. If you look at the Act 44 plan, and it's a tough vote that they take every year, but the reason why they do it every year is because they want to take a look at those metrics to make sure we're meeting the metrics. Moving forward, the goal is by 2028 to get to 3%, and then 3% would continue for the future.
All right, that's part of the answer there. Meanwhile, it's a separate act in 2009 that helped lower that burden for the Turnpike and how much it actually sends to PennDOT annually. We asked the department what it does with that money. Got this statement, quote, PennDOT receives $50 million annually from the PA Turnpike as a result of Act 44 from 2007. Those dollars support public transit agencies in Pennsylvania. So that would include helping mass transit operations like SEPTA and then Pittsburgh Regional Transit Authority as well. So Act 44 really is the key part to the Turnpike's history when it comes to telling the full story about those tolls.
But that doesn't necessarily tell the full story. Let's take a look back at the history of a road that started as a 164-mile stretch of pavement.
Pennsylvania Turnpike, I love you so.
October 1st of 1940, traffic opened on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, thanks to President Franklin D. Roosevelt granting the federal funding to create it, part of the New Deal coming out of the Great Depression.
So a big part of that was getting people back to work and then moving commerce back and forth from Pittsburgh to Carlisle, which essentially was Harrisburg.
It marked the beginning of the nation's first superhighway, the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
In 1940, the Turnpike spanned from Carlisle in Cumberland County to Irwin in Westmoreland County. A total of 2.5 million vehicles traveled the Turnpike that year, more than double predictions. Today, there are 550,000 daily travelers.
But you think about what must have been that day, October 1st, 1940. All the excitement, the understanding of coming onto a road of continuous travel, 150 miles from Irwin to Carlisle, a modern marvel of its time, to which the current interstate system has been modeled after.
In the early 1950s, safety enhancements were made to prevent crossover fatalities, like signals placed on the median strip and installed guardrails. The Turnpike also expanded.
In the 1950s, extensions were built to the Ohio border in the west, to the Delaware River in the east, and to Scranton in the north.
By 1960, the Turnpike was preparing to count its 200 millionth vehicle, and more expansion began to 4 lanes. In 1987, computerization of the toll collection system went into effect. All tickets were dispensed automatically at the toll booths and contained a magnetic strip encoded with fare and vehicle information.
This was a new concept, new concept of tolling and new concept of an interstate highway.
In the summer of 1998, a massive total reconstruction project for the entire Turnpike began. It involved digging up the original 1940 road and replacing it with a wider median and shoulder.
So our reconstruction is our best investment. So be able to remove the existing roadway all the way down to the dirt, replace the drainage, build it back up, correct all of the substandard horizontal and vertical aspects of the roadway.
In December of 2000, the Turnpike launched Easy Pass for a trial period. 20 years later, in June of 2020, a unanimous decision was made to keep all electronic tolling in place permanently. That also involved toll by plate. Now, open road tolling is the future.
The key item is safety. Again, with the toll plaza in place, narrow lanes, a lot of confusion as you enter and exit those, trying to get to your different direction of movements. So removing the plazas allows a lot more free flow between our interstate and the connecting roadways.
85 years of transportation and counting.
You see the projects you've worked on have changed not only the way the Commonwealth is able to move, the widening of the roadway, the new interchanges, the new bridges. It's just the infrastructure, the pride we take in what we do every day is amazing.
So this year, the men and women tasked with running this 85-year-old highway were all given raises.
That's true. They were big raises. The top 6 executives in the commission all have larger salaries than even the governor. The CEO of the Turnpike Commission now making $348,000 a year. That's a 33% pay increase. You can see all the salaries for yourself right there in front of you on the screen.
And those pay increases were approved in March following a wage study and some public meetings. The Turnpike Commission says this was absolutely necessary.
Yeah, but it still had many questioning why it's happening now and if this is where their toll dollars are really going. I got a chance to talk to the CEO about that. The pay raises is something that, you know, from the outside people go, whoa, what's going on here? What's the best way from the inside to look at this in a respectful way, but realize how it looks from the outside too?
Yeah, and I certainly do. Back in January, the commissioners, all 5 commissioners, came to me, and they came to me after having a lot of exposure with our senior team. And they realized the things we're trying to do in the growth strategy, the things that we're trying to do to maintain a $16 billion debt portfolio. And they said, this is a senior team that we want to keep together. So in that, they asked us to do a study. So we contracted and did a study to see if the salaries of the senior team were that of other senior teams in like organizations. Turns out the study revealed that they weren't. So the commissioners, again, all 5, took the recommendations of the study. There's 3 different levels of recommendations. We asked them to take the lowest of the 3 levels, which they did. But again, all 5 commissioners voted in a personnel agenda to move the salaries of the senior team, and that's really what transpired.
How do you measure success from those people?
Yeah, and I need to do a better job of laying out what they do every day.
Yeah.
Because if you could see them like I get to see them,
yeah,
you'd realize why they're so special. Each and every one of them could work anywhere else in the country, and that's the view of the 5 commissioners who have a lot of world experience see that too. I've got a CFO that has to manage a debt portfolio of $16 billion. In the course of what he and his team have done, we've had $1 billion of savings over the life of that debt. You don't find those people out of the phone book. I've got a chief engineer who you're going to talk to today, manages the 550-mile roadway, large parts of it 85 years old, an $800 million capital plan. You don't find that person out of a phone book.
It could put you in more debt, or it can work at it. We're talking big numbers here.
Yeah, and the goal was really to keep this team together, especially with a group of commissioners who want us to be in growth mode. And we're, again, open to doing that, but really was important to keep this team together.
Okay, some of the answers we were looking for are on the big pay increase there. So let's talk about the commission. You know, they say the tolls don't go up every year to just pay for the raises. So what about that money? Where's it going?
Yeah, it's a good question. We are talking with the chief engineer of the Turnpike. He's breaking down the projects currently underway that he says are in return, a return on your investment.
Plus, a potential solution that was out there, a plan to get more than $12 billion. It was just a few votes away. Why it couldn't find the fast track to the finish line in Harrisburg, that's coming up next. Traveling the Pennsylvania Turnpike, it's an easy way to get from one side of the Commonwealth to the other, but depending on where you go, and especially if you don't have Easy Pass, it can be very expensive.
And if you're traveling from Harrisburg to Philadelphia with the toll by plate, it can cost you between $24 and $38 for one way, depending on where you get off the road. From Harrisburg to Pittsburgh, it's around $45 in one direction. And those prices cut in half if you have an Easy Pass.
Yeah, but where do the tolls actually go with that money? Now, we asked the Turnpike's chief engineer, and he explained some of the projects that are underway right now.
So we have a pot of money at the Turnpike called our capital plan. It's a 10-year capital plan. We renew it every year through a vote of our commissioners. Our fiscal year runs from June 1st to May 31st. The capital plan is solely funded by toll revenue. So the folks, our customers who are paying tolls, we collect those tolls. We at times leverage that through bonds to be able to afford bigger projects. Our current capital plan is $8 billion over 10 years. We have a lot of big projects under construction right now. We're replacing the Beaver River Bridge out in western PA around milepost 20, a major bridge for us. Similarly, up on the Northeast Extension, we're replacing our Hawk Falls Bridge, another major long span bridge. We're converting our system into an open road tolling network. We converted everything east of Reading in January of this year, and everything from Reading west will be converted in January 2027.
People have seen and have gone in and out of the toll booths for so many years. Why is the open road tolling so important?
Many different reasons. One, the key item is safety. Again, with the toll plaza in place, narrow lanes, a lot of confusion as you enter and exit those, trying to get to your different direction of movements. So removing the plazas allows a lot more free flow between our interstate and the connecting roadways. A lot of great environmental features. Smaller footprint means less pavement, means less stormwater runoff to be able to control. Less starting and stopping of vehicles, less carbon emissions. Again, allows us to expand our network. Previously, when we wanted a new interchange on our system, we required a toll booth, a plaza. We were single point interchanges, not really conducive and affordable. Now with open road tolling, we can go to more conventional looking interchanges. We don't need all that tolling equipment, much more affordable, and allow us to expand our system and provide additional access points across the Commonwealth. The goal is to reconstruct a roadway. So the reconstruction program started here in about 2000, so we're about 25 years into it. We have about 164 miles reconstructed. Some of it's been widened, some of it has not, based on capacity.
And one more note about the open road tolling. The engineer says they will not ticket you if you're speeding through the Gentry.
Okay, well, next we're taking a closer look at some of the politics when it comes to the Turnpike, the possibilities lawmakers could help with the Turnpike to get it out of debt, and the plan that almost put ownership of the road in foreign hands.
As we've shown you, the debt the Turnpike is currently facing is pretty daunting, and the solutions, they're going to take time. But what if we told you there was a solution to wipe out the debt in one day, supported by the governor?
Governor at that time, because the situation was 2008, the governor was Ed Rendell. The idea to lease out the Turnpike to a private company from Spain for more than $12 billion. Adjusted for inflation, that's $18 billion in today's dollars. Why didn't it pass? Let's go back to 2008 when the Turnpike was facing a nearly $4 billion debt back then, and something had to give.
Yes.
Yep.
It was either going to be a tax increase, Act 44, something had to happen. And as you well know, the appetite for any type of tax increase does not go over well within the legislative body.
Enter Governor Ed Rendell with the idea of privatizing the Turnpike and leasing it to a private operator that would pay $12 billion up front for a 75-year lease. It would mean the private operator assumed all the risk associated with road maintenance, capital improvements, and potential shortfalls in revenue. And there was a blueprint just a few states away.
And Indiana did a similar to where they did privatize. So I understand that's a much different model. I don't know how it would have been.
Was it around that same time?
Definitely around that same time, and that was a very, very popular thing to do, what was deemed to be free money.
In 2006, Indiana's 75-year lease netted $3.85 billion for immediate infrastructure projects. However, the initial private operator faced financial difficulties and went bankrupt 8 years later. But Indiana sold the lease again to a different company in 2015 for billions more. But let's go back to 2008 and the idea for Pennsylvania. Why weren't lawmakers on board? Scott Conklin was a newly elected representative then and remembers.
Combination of the 75-year lease, a combination of, many folks and the senators are probably going to get mad for me saying this, the Senate having control over basically the hiring of within the Turnpike Commission. And all those, I think it was the perfect storm, and that's what ended it. Now, if it was an American company, it may have been a lot closer, but I think with the fact, the way it went down, I don't even believe it was a close. It was never voted on, but I don't ever believe the will was there to ever lease our Turnpike.
Some were also concerned about union members losing jobs and not having full control over toll increases. Instead, the idea was left idling on the legislative road to nowhere.
Sit on it. We don't do anything. Pretty much the contract runs out.
So it was an act of the General Assembly that got the Turnpike into more debt. We asked the chairman of the House Transportation Committee if there's an appetite to repeal the law.
I would say that some people might have appetite, but at the end of the day, the bill still has to get paid. So how are you going to pay it? If it's not paid through the tolling system, that's landlocked right there to maintain that specific road only. I mean, that's how it's to pay. Those who ride it have to pay it.
Representative Nielsen says he thinks the Turnpike should expand and says he sees a future where we are potentially tolling even more roads in Pennsylvania, saying the Turnpike Commission has done its part to try to keep the highway up and running. So we've seen what the Turnpike is doing with the tax dollars so far, those tolling bucks.
Yeah, but officials with the Turnpike say they have big plans for the future, how they're trying to reduce their carbon footprint and make the Turnpike greener.
I spent some time at PennDOT. They do a great job on a shoestring budget. How are they going to maintain that interstate system, a system of over 40,000 miles of road? Large part of that's the interstate system. What are they going to do to start a reconstruction program they haven't been able to start yet? I think user fees have to be the way of the future in some capacity, and I really see us as the model moving forward.
So let's look ahead a little bit. The future could mean even more roads like the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
The officials we spoke to say they have big plans for your toll money going forward, and we got to see some of those things firsthand. The commission says it wants to be self-sustaining by 2040. The one way is by lowering the carbon footprint.
So this is one of those ways. What the commission hopes to be many pollinator gardens. It's setting these up right around the road. These are gardens the commission says will lead to less money being spent on maintenance beyond the road areas. With a garden, engineers say there's less grass to cut, while also helping out the environment.
And the Turnpike is also expanding its energy grid. Solar panels on the sides of the roads are helping power the highway with green energy. The commission says it's also selling its remaining energy back to the PJM grid. Eventually, officials say they hope to use that to provide more charging options for electrical vehicles.
All right, folks, those are just a few of the things the commission says it's looking forward to as it looks towards the next 85 years.
Thanks for joining us for this closer look special of the toll of the Turnpike.
CBS 21 News starts now.